Good morning. I'm Andrea with Happy Cloud Creations, and I am jumping on today because it's week 8 of the Infinite Night Helix Quilt Along. Next week will be the last week of the Quilt Along, and today, or this week, is the last week we'll be actually making blocks for the quilt. So, I know some people are behind, but that's okay. This week, the blocks will go together super quick, so you'll have a chance to catch up. Also, these videos and that are uploaded to my Instagram, to my Facebook, and my YouTube will stay up there forever. So if you're starting this quilt later down the road and you have questions, you can always refer back to these videos if you need any help. But a lot of the blocks go together fairly easily. It's just keeping them all organized so that you get the double helix design. If you don't quite get those organized, that's when you have problems. If anybody has questions about this week, Block M or Block N, please let me know. Since we made our small arrow units toward the beginning of the quilt along, these blocks are going to go together really quickly. And you only need 2 Block M and 2 Block N this week for these 2 side columns of your quilt. That's what we're finishing up this week. So I'm just going to get into it. Make sure to refer to what size you're making for what size pieces you'll need. And first you're going to just sew all of the 2 colored squares together, which I already did, but I already sewed them to my small arrow. So in step 2, you're kind of just laying out everything you made, right? So you're going to have your 2 squares that are sewed together. You're going to have your small arrow units laying out. You're going to have your squares, color D squares, and you're going to have your color D rectangles. You can either pin all of those together to form 2 rows, or you can just first pin these together, sew them, and then come back and sew the end squares to the side, which that's what I decided to do, just so that it wasn't all these different pins. But when you're sewing them together, make sure you're nesting the seams. This, in the small arrow, we ironed or pressed our seams this way so that when we matched it up with the 2 square units, we pressed our seam the opposite way so that when you go to sew them together, they kind of just rest right up against each other. And then when you're done, you just finger press them open and then press your seams open. And then you're going to go ahead and sew these 2 squares onto the side, which it'll look like this, but this is block N, not M. And so it'll be long and skinny. Mine's the king size, which is the same size pieces as the queen, but the king will have larger sashing to give it that wider quilt. And then with the bottom row, you basically do the same thing. I sewed the little rectangles to the ends of my arrows, like this. And then I'm going to go and pin both of these sections to my center square, like this. And then when you're sewing these on, I like to just have the point of the arrow facing me so that when I sew it, you want to make sure your needle is going above that triangle so that you don't chop off the top of your point. On both of them, you can see better with the red. Oh, it's right here. See better with the red, see? And then you'll finger press these open, and you're going to want to press your seams inward so that when you go to attach it to this side block, you can nest these two big strips together. Oh, I dropped my pattern on the ground. And then here is my final block M. Oh, I got strings all over me. It is very large, but this is actually, oh no, I sewed the wrong one on. I sewed this on backwards. That's what I get for rushing, huh? So I'm going to have to unpick this. See, guys? That's why I say make sure you notice color placement. I messed up. But I'll unpick that, and then all I have to do is rotate this bottom piece and sew it back together. Good thing I noticed that now, huh? I dropped my pattern on the ground. So, does anybody have questions about block M or N? They should go together fairly quickly. And then next week, if you don't have all your blocks done, that's fine. You can keep working on it. Keep posting your pictures in the Quilt Along group and on Instagram. A lot more people are posting over in Facebook Quilt Along than they are on Instagram. And then next week, we're going to... Did I grab all the pages? No, I didn't. Here we go. Okay, so then we're going to go down to page 14, and we're going to start adding those side pieces. You know, in the instructions where it says, your cutting instructions, where it says right here, pieces around blocks. That's what we're going to be attaching to the sides of our center column blocks next week. And we're going to be doing the whole top. I'll jump on a video just to see if anybody has questions. I'm going to try to put all my top together by then. We'll see if I can. But right now, if you haven't cut out those pieces that go around your blocks, before you cut them, I would make sure to measure your blocks, your center blocks, just to make sure the height is the same as the height of these blocks that go around. So they're numbered 1, 2, and 3. If you had a accurate seam, 1/4 inch sewer seam, scant seam, they should end up the same size as those pieces that you're going to be attaching to the sides of them. But if your seam was smaller than it should have been, your blocks might end up too large. And then they won't match up to those pieces that are supposed to be attached to them. So that would be the only case where you would want to make these pieces larger that you're attaching. I hope that makes sense. You want to make sure it's the same size so that it'll be square and nice. The reason I did this later instead of before is just because it's kind of like a final step, I feel like. It's kind of like a weird shaped sashing. And then we'll make the column. I'll go over more of that next week. See if you guys have any questions. But man, this Quilt Along has gone by so fast. And I never thought, you know, I just kept putting off making a king size quilt for my bed. And I finally did it. I'm really happy that I finally did it. I've been looking at backing fabric because king size quilt, that's really big. I found a really cool starry galaxy fabric. I think it's by Timeless Treasures, and I think that's what I'm going to use for the backing fabric. And I'm leaning toward having a long arm quilt this one. I just haven't picked out the pantograph that I want. So if you guys have any suggestions of pantographs, there is a quilter in Tacoma that I was gonna see if she's gonna be able to do it, because I just want to be able to drop it off. I don't really want to have to mail it somewhere, you know. So I'll see what design she has and see if she has any suggestions too. But if you join me in this quilt along, thank you so much. I'm glad you joined. A lot of people have already finished their quilts over in the Facebook Quilt Along group. I think they're wanting to finish so they can gift them. The pattern is 10% off through the 15th. But then also, don't forget, I typically have a Black Friday sale. And I'm not sure exactly when that will start. It might start the 25th. It might start earlier. I haven't quite decided yet. So you're probably going to want to check back later for that. And then next Wednesday, let's see. What's my schedule like? Yeah, I think I'll jump on next Wednesday to do the last live for this quilt along. See if anybody has questions about finishing their quilt. And then I'm not sure. We probably won't have another quilt along until next year. Because I know it's kind of hard to have quilt alongs during the holidays. I don't celebrate the holidays, but I know a lot of other people do. So I guess I'll see you guys next week, and you have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.